And we are go. So,
Hi.
hi. That all sounds so fake. We're so deflated right now. So I just popped out a bubble before we came live, guys. So let's let's say we're only going to spend because we're 5 minutes early on the stream. So we're only going to
Yeah.
spend 10 minutes talking about what just unfolded. So
Oh, you go first.
I wanted to just say, I can't believe what you just went through for the last 2 days. Like, they just didn't give up. But there's this one person who is riding Abby's ass for 2 days solid, calling her every name under the sun.
Well,
And
calling me a grifter, which I mean is a ridiculous statement to begin with, but other things too. I mean, I don't know. I can't.
right. So there's this person called Kerry B who's been riding Abby's ass for 2 days solid. And, well, I kind of did say, Abby, you should just let it go because this bitch has got like so much energy. Pretty sure we're gonna run out before she does, but Abby went actually pretty good like for a couple of days, and then she realized, yeah, she's gonna keep going. So Abby gave it up, but then to try and blow this stream up, and I
Mhm.
was so fucking livid. I'm not gonna say the C word. I'm gonna say the F word, but I'm not gonna say the C word. I was so livid that she tried to blow this up. So I'm going to call that out first. Let me share. Let me share this one first, just so that peeps can see what we're talking about. Hang on. That's not what we want. That's not what we want to share. Well, actually, let me close some freaking things. Oh my god. Yeah, so I grabbed this screenshot, right? And I just posted, like, pedos want to hang out with OB. Go figure. That's all I
Mhm.
wrote, right? Just another one wants to hang out with OB. And I put that up there. That's all I wrote. I didn't
That's fine.
insinuate that she knew or accepted or anything like that, or that anyone did. I just went like, go figure. They kind of feel welcome over there now. And then I got sent this timestamp of Turtle Boy telling everybody on this panel who Steve C is. Basically, he says in this, he doesn't go to the extent that I'm going to go to tonight to tell you all who Steve C is. What he does is he says he's the dude that put the murdered turtle on his mum's porch the week that she died. So everyone in that panel should have been totally mortified at that. But obviously, I was pointing out that now they all know. And,
Yeah.
someone asked me when it was, and I was like, just a few hours ago. And this one's, he's not hanging out with, and blah, blah, blah. And so I was like, well, to be fair, he's hanging out everywhere, except OB's the only one who made the last predator welcome and even defended him as a victim.
Yeah.
So I was just sort of, yeah. Anyway, other people posted um, that he was sending super chats to everyone, which, I didn't mind because we'd been collecting that stuff. But what just freaking got posted about my stream right now is a whole other fucking thing, which is,
Okay.
you can see I've blocked her post. Oh my god, I freaking hate X. You can't freaking follow anything back to the original post. Here we go. Let's do it this way. There. Look, Mesmerelda and Lisa Allen are going to accuse Let's Talk Lie, which is BLT, and Will the Glarer, of hanging out with a pedo. So I just snapped it. I was just like, "Are you for real?" And I called her all sorts of names. But anyway, I did explain it to Will, and I explained it to Brian, and I gave them the link to the original thing that she is. Yeah, it's just a lie. It's just a complete lie. What we are going to do, but is we're going to talk about Steve Cody, because he's another predator in our orbit. He calls himself FKR. So you guys might be familiar with the other night. We had um no, it's not perpetuating the cycle, shorty. I just got accused of something, and Will and LTL were asking what WTF. So I'm not going to disengage from that. I am going to explain it, because I'm not going to lose friends because people are lying about things. Uh, they're fine now because I did explain it. So there you go. Ended fine. Where
Yeah.
was I? Where was I? So yeah, in our live stream the other day, when we were exposing the last predator, I put a link into the chat for Melly to come up on stream and say and tell us her story. And he grabbed that link and he jumped backstage and he started writing like really bad shit in our private chat. And so
Mhm.
what happened was he sat in there for ages, and Jason sort of dealt with him while we carried on with the conversation. And I don't have DMs with them. They don't answer their DMs. I'm sorry, Miss Shorty. It's done. Okay. I have sorted it out with them. I don't care what it causes with anyone else. I've sorted it out with them. I'm sorry. Anyway, where was I? Um, Let it be known that Miss Shorty didn't want me to say this publicly, all right? She's not part of this. This is me and Abby saying we were mad and we needed to say something about it. So moving on, that's the person who gate crashed our backstage the other day. Since then, I've learned a lot more about this person, and uh, a whole lot more. Anyway, oh my god, come on, people!
I don't I don't understand. Look, I don't regret. I do not regret exposing Adam the Van Turd. I don't. I'm never gonna. I mean, and I
I'm
think
not.
me and Austin,
That's not
but I guess this goes into the larger point is that I don't think that we're doing anything wrong right now.
right. We're not doing anything wrong. Just listen, all right? If you don't want to hear a victim speak up about her experience, because you all got to speak about yours and yours is over now, and so no other victims count, that's not me and Abby. All right, we got another victim. She wants to speak. We want her to be able to speak. She's been told to shut up and not speak for how long now? I think it's been since it's 5 months. She's been told she's not allowed to speak about it. It's her turn to speak, and I'm going to let her speak.
Yeah.
Now, to move on with the story,
Yeah.
we have this person is a public figure. Okay, and so we're allowed to speak about public figures, and so it's not doxing. It's not. They're probably still going to say that that's what we're doing, but it's not. This person actually ran for council in Leominster um, at 19. Like that was going to work. Bloody hell. Anyway, um, this was in. Hang on, what date do we got here? 2013. He ran for um, Leominster County. And then he lost, obviously. At 19, he wasn't going to win. But was upon his loss, he was charged with harassment. And so what did he do? He harassed a woman online. And lo and behold, his daddy sticks up for him and says he was bullied. But it turns out, no, he wasn't bullied. He was literally doing the bullying. He went way nuts at this poor girl. And because he happened to be part of, I don't know, some Facebook group, decided that because he's part of that Facebook group, he's entitled to harass people. Bob Cody, my son has never done anything wrong. Please, I'm going to show you what your son freaking does sitting in your house, Bob Cody. So essentially, what happens is he hitches himself to the free carry movement, and nobody wants anything to do with him. Nobody on either side. Like, the antis don't want nothing to do with him, and the none of us want anything to do with him. So he's kind of like sitting out in the cold all by himself. And it's because of all of this harassment. So these charges here, these were back in when was this? Where's the date for this? This was 2019 when this happened. Uh, the 2019 written about, I can't remember when these charges were actually laid, but anyway, I think it was a 12-month stay away order. He couldn't have any contact with her, but he kept contacting her which is what he does. But essentially, he ends up in read movement. So, uh, he befriends or thinks he's befriended because he got a selfie with Total Boy, with Aiden Carney. He thinks he's part of that thing now, and then gets flatly rejected there because he's too much of a stalker for everyone. So essentially, what this is about, this was filed in April of this year, on the 26th of April this year, and I think that's what that means. 26th of April, August 2023. Yeah, and then all filed this year. But anyway, he harassed none other than D&E Pizzas, Chris Albert, and then he harassed Jill Daniels. And this is how it got around that Total Boy was sending people to harass them. It was actually this moron doing it. And he was also doing a bunch of other things. He was false reporting to Lifeline, crisis lines. He was sending pizzas out to people. He was doing all sorts of crap. But anyway, because it was repetitive behavior and he kept going on and doing it over and over and over and over, essentially, the same police who tried to do this to Total Boy, basically, decided, he's not going to stop, so we got to charge him. And so essentially, where's the charges? That's the whole story. If anyone wants it, I'll put the link in the description. But essentially, he was charged with falsely reporting to a public safety dispatch, 2 counts, and 2 counts of witness intimidation. And I don't know if he went straight to jail, do not pass go, or if he broke his terms of his bond and ended up going to jail. It's one or the other. I forget which exactly. But there's the background story for that. So let me just answer any questions that you like, and I'll just send a little message through to his victim who's going to tell us her experience. We are ready for you. She's probably listening. So just so you know, I sent you a message. We're ready for you. And whoops. Probably need that link again. I probably buried the link on you. Whoops. Let me send you that link again. We won't be making the mistake of posting it into the public chat and ending up with a critter like we did
Yeah.
last time. All right. So, got any questions, Abby? Because like this is kind of news to you, right?
Yeah, this is news to me. I mean, I know that you said that he was, harassing you for quite some time. So,
Mm,
I
mm.
mean, I mean, I've heard, some things around it, but I haven't, I mean, this is mind blowing, to be honest.
Yes, he's hitched himself to the FKR movement. And
Yeah,
the way he's hitched himself to it is has created like the pattern or the template that they've gone and charged Turtle Boy with. So Turtle Boy should actually be probably a little bit madder with him than he is. But on top of that, there's also most people actually do know this, and it was mentioned on Nurse Kim's channel the other night when he tried to send a super chat and act like he's an animal lover. It was pointed out by Aiden that he's the one that tied the dead turtle to Aiden's mum's porch when she was dying. So,
it's
um,
insane.
yeah. So a lot of my viewers actually did see that that picture I posted on my community wall. Some of you were like, "Oh my god, you offended my eyeballs." But I wasn't offending your eyeballs. I was telling you the truth. This is what somebody did to Aiden's dying mum. So, um, whoops. We were there for a second. Yep, there we go.
Yeah, and I'm going to be honest, I don't feel sorry that you're divulging this information. Not
Okay.
sorry.
Not sorry. Sorry, not sorry.
Not sorry.
So, hey, Courts, how's it going?
I'm good. How are you?
We're good. So, Courtney, this is Abby. Abby, this is Courtney.
Hi,
And
Abby.
Nice to know.
Courtney's a victim of this chap. And holy Hannah, has she got a story to tell? I know I know the basic storyline, but I don't know the ins and outs. And so I wanted to give Courtney the room to be able to speak on what happened to her because she's not allowed to speak about it. Everyone's like, no, 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 don't make trouble. Don't talk about it. It's like, too bad. This girl needs
No,
to
too bad.
talk. She's going to talk. And guess what? Oops, she's gone again. And guess what? When you'll come at her, we're all gonna stand in her way and in the way of her as well, because coming at the victims isn't kosher. And Abby and I are gonna stand in the way. So is Jason. That's what we're all going to do.
100%.
Yep. Oops, she's
And I'll have
gone.
and I'll have no regrets about it.
um, we'll just wait for her to come back. But yeah, so we haven't really been stirring any trouble ourselves. We've been fending off people attacking the victims. Um, oh my god, she's having so many troubles connecting. Poor girl.
So I'm
We got you back.
hi.
I am so sorry. That
It's
was
all right.
weird.
That's all right. We got you, mate. If you fall off a few times, we'll bring you back again. How's that?
Perfect. Well, first, I just want to say thank you for doing this because it's just been like an insane roller coaster since February. And it just seems like every time like I try to say like what's going on, people are so quick to be like, no, just let it go, ignore him. Like, or other people like have their issues with Steve that will take precedent over like what I'm going through. So I kind of like took a step back and was like, okay, I'll let this play out. And finally, I've just had enough. Um, it's been like the last like couple months have been so increasingly worse where like and even like my own police department doesn't want to be bothered with it.
Right.
So
It's a
so
pain.
yeah.
It's a pain. And which police department is that? Just to be clear.
So it's Worcester Police. I have like been in contact with them numerous times because The restraining order has been violated. I mean, we're up to like almost 20 times now at this point, but they're reluctant to really go and nail him with a violation because they want to have cybercrimes investigate and make sure that um, they can confirm that these accounts truly are him. But he has like other outside agencies that are like looking into him now because this has been something that he's done for the past 10 plus years.
They want to make
Um,
sure these accounts are him. Hang on, can I just show people how ridiculous that is?
yeah, absolutely.
This is how ridiculous that is. Okay, see all of these accounts: Steve C, Steve C, Steve C, Steve Coates, Steve C, Steve C, Steve C, page 2, Steve C, blah 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 blah, Steve C C. How can they be like under any like, we want to make sure this is him, like
Yeah,
hello, what are you looking at? This all looks like Steve C to me, people. And look,
yeah,
Yeah.
look
I
at
mean, it
this.
appears so.
These are all Courtney blocking him. Look how many times she's had to block this guy.
Jesus Christ.
yeah. I have upwards of over 200 accounts that were blocked, and in 6 days, I had to block 90.
Are you kidding?
I'm dead serious. It was,
And I believe her because
Shit.
I myself had to block uh at least 20 YouTube accounts in one day. So I believe that's I think he's got a bot working on Twitter, actually, on X. I think he's doing it with a bot.
I'm not sure what he's doing it with. To be honest, I know that he does have multiple devices. He has alluded to using VPNs. He has said that he has over or 500 emails, 500 YouTube accounts. So basically, nothing's stopping him from, just popping in a bogus email to get a bogus Twitter handle for, a week. I mean, like there are people like watch how many accounts pop up in a single month, and you lose count because like after a week, obviously he has over 90.
Mm.
And when I finally went to go get the order against him in July, the judge is like, so this is like, over the course of how long? And I was like 6 days, and he's just like, oh my god. And I'm like, I'm literally in the courtroom and he's tweeting at me, hey, let's go get coffee. I'm in the city. Where are you? And it's like, dude,
That's
like,
terrifying. And he doesn't live that far away from you, right? I mean, Leominster, from what I know, because I went to Fitchburg State. I know Leominster very well. I actually think I've seen a
yeah.
sign, Leominster Yards. I mean, it's only maybe 25 minutes away from Worcester. Like
So
that's pretty terrifying.
he's actually not in Leominster anymore. He's actually in Clinton, which is somewhat closer.
Worcester. Yeah,
Um,
that's closer.
so yeah, and actually, like the day that Steve had gone to Eden's parents' house, a car, and it's just so weird. A car had stopped in front of my home, and there was a person in the back seat taking pictures of my house, which I thought was like weird. Like I live on a state highway, so it's like fast moving traffic. There's nowhere
Yeah.
to like pull over. And then there's a car taking pictures of my house. And then like 20 minutes later, he's taking a picture in front of Aiden's parents' house, which is less than 2 miles from my house. So, I kind of like put two and two together and I was just like, okay, this is getting a little weird.
Escalating. It's escalating, and that's
Yeah.
terrifying.
Yeah.
Terrifying. I mean,
Yeah.
it hasn't been terrifying for me because I live in Australia. It's too far away to terrify me, but that's like right on your freaking doorstep, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. And then like he started with like the pizza deliveries. Like I literally had three cars in front of my house at the same exact time. One from Domino's, one from Papa John's, and one from King Chef Chinese. And I'm like, I am so sorry. Like there's a psychotic person who is either he himself doing the deliveries or someone on his behalf is doing the deliveries. But with each of those deliveries, his cell phone number was attached to those orders.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and then like after that, I started getting mail in his name to my house.
Oh
So
my
like
God.
now his name is affixed to my address. And like I was getting stuff from England sent to my house. I was getting SIM cards for phones sent to my house. Um, COVID tests that say Steven Anderson Cody, like our last names are hyphenated, which like
Scary.
grossed me out. And then Steven Anderson, and it's just like the psychological mind fuck that puts on you is like, holy crap. Like, it's like, I
That's
can get to
terrifying.
you. Yeah. Yep. So it's just, and, I was hoping that like he would, I guess, it was stupid of me to think that he would take, the order that I got in July against him seriously. But within 4 or 5 minutes of him being served, he violated it, tagging, like commenting on my post on Twitter, like thinking it was funny and like telling me to shut up.
Yeah, and
So
it's the fact that the cops won't do anything about it when he violates and stuff. That's an issue, and obviously it's an issue that Total Boy's experiencing too. If he
yeah,
does anything wrong, he's slapped in jail. But if someone else does it, it's like, pff, who cares?
right. Well, that's why like I kind of took things a step further when I was getting really annoyed and I felt like I wasn't being heard by the police department. So I actually have a contact in the FBI out of Boston. It's someone that I've worked with in the past with like an abusive ex. And I kind of reached out to him and I was like, hey, look, this guy's uh, really like harassing me. I'm getting stuff in the mail. Like I found out that my daughter's school was called. Um, I never came out and like accused him of it. I said was my daughter's junior high was called and someone asked if she was a student there. No one in their right mind would ever call my child's school asking if she's a student there. Um, so like I had contacted the agent in the FBI that I worked with before, and he reached out to me, and and this was in September, and he like told me like what I should do as far as allegations that were being levied against him with sending his own pubes in a dildo to a 14-year-old child, who he then proceeded to upload onto a porn site, and he thought it was the funniest thing in the world.
Oh my
Um,
God, I've got a copy of, believe it or not, the person who exposed it
yeah,
originally, back in the when it was exposed, was actually Kate Peters. She made a post about it. Someone
yeah,
grabbed a screenshot of that post. Let me grab it. And this is what he said about, this is what he said. I can't believe what he said about that. Like, I was like, dude, this is bullshit. Whoops. That wasn't what I wanted. That's what I wanted. That's what he said about it. Well, she didn't open the parcel. So
yeah,
no harm, no foul. It's like, what? Are you serious? That,
yeah,
that you still sent it?
That's
It doesn't matter if she opened it. Like, for once, I actually do agree with something Kate Peters actually says.
yeah. No, absolutely. And it
My
was
mouth.
kind of like, yeah, and it was kind of interesting because like he was on a video. It's a video where someone had like asked him like, in what world is it okay to, or like, do you think someone should be jailed if they upload a minor to a porn website? And he was kind of like
I know, and he did.
reluctant to answer it. He
Yeah,
was like, well, I think it depends on the context. And it's like, what are you talking about? Depends on the context. Like, you know, child uploaded to a porn site. I don't care if she's in a snowsuit, hat, like mask, whatever. The fact that you uploaded a child to a porn site in and of itself is so
a
wrong
crime.
on so many different levels. Like there's no gray area. If you're uploading a child to a porn site, you go to jail. End of story. No collecting $200, like you're in jail. And if I had my way, they'd be fucking chemically castrated. And I apologize for my language, but
That's
like
all right.
this
Just
is
don't say the C word.
oh I
Otherwise,
no
you'll
no
get me
worries.
going and it'll all be C's all the way through.
No. But I mean, yeah, so it's like he thinks it's a joke. He's like, "Oh, I just did it because I was trolling." Dude, no. Like, no, if you want to troll someone, you know, call someone a pig or whatever, or like you don't involve children. Children are 100% off limits.
100%.
And like, and that's why, like, you know, with what, my daughter's school being called and then what he was doing to VDOT, to Kyle, I was just like, oh no, 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 like this, enough is enough. Like, and Kyle went and started like really like getting into the nitty gritty of it and like started doing videos and stuff. And then it was like all of a sudden everything that Steve has ever done is now coming to the center. Now people are coming out of the woodwork, like reaching out about how he has victimized them or gone after them or doxed them or made their lives a living hell. And like I said, it's been going on for 10 plus years,
Yeah. And
you
I
know?
It's
I can't believe that
not
it's still
new.
going on. It's multiple women now. It's not just you, it's multiple women.
No, no, yep,
So I
yep,
do believe that Jen Altman has already got a HPO out on him as well.
yep,
Uh,
she does.
and then also the woman that I introduced earlier in the years gone by. Do you remember? Do you know what date that was? Was that right as he the order will remain in effect till 2015? So there you go. That's when that ended. So
Yeah,
there's
so that,
obviously
yeah.
multiple women between 15 and now.
Well, I actually kind of like went a step further prior to getting my order, and I FOIA'd a lot of police reports from different police departments, and he's had, I mean, pages of people that he has doxed, harassed, stalked, and they just kind of didn't. I don't know if they didn't see the need or the want, but they just never pursued getting orders against him, even though it was like suggested by law enforcement. So his number of orders on him should far exceed 200 at this point. Um, in
100.
July of this year, he had been living in Clinton for 18 months, and within 18 months, he had over 200 calls levied against him in Clinton alone. So,
Wow.
what does that tell you?
Right. Well, see, I had been talking with B Dot about his issues with Steve Cody.
Yeah,
And that just goes even further into this story that I've still got on the screen. It goes into him harassing children and wives of people that he doesn't like. Like, if you support Turtle Boy, he will call up your wife's work. I've actually got evidence of this as well. He'll call up your wife's work and try to get her fired. He'll ring CPS and try and get your kids taken off you. He'll upload your children to porn sites. I've actually got evidence of all these things that he's doing in his own freaking words, of him actually admitting that that's what he's doing. And that's not people saying he said or he done and then he's denying. It's not a he said she said kind of deal. This is he is saying it in his own freaking words. So
yeah.
it's
I have messages from him where he's like threatened DCF with like a whole bunch of people, like literally going back all the way from February, um, where he's like, he thinks everything is about Turtle Boy, that everything is surrounding him, and he doesn't understand it. Like, my issue with him has nothing to do with Aiden Carney. Like, this is my issue with him. It has nothing to do with anyone else. But he's taking it as that everyone's trying to hush him up because he's so critical of Aiden, and that couldn't be farther from the truth.
sorry, I gotta do some modding here. I actually took some people out of the ignore bin because I thought I'll give people a chance tonight to see how they behave. So if you come in here victim blaming and you don't get it, then you're probably going to end up back in the ignore bin, guys. Sorry, sorry, not sorry. But this, sorry, Abby. I think you must be muted. Can't hear you.
Oh no, I'm here.
I don't know. I can hear you. I can't hear Abby. Her.
Oh.
I don't know if she's
Oh,
muted.
sorry, I was on mute. No, I said I'm not sorry for doing this stream. I think that honestly, like, I appreciate Court telling her story, and I think it's really important because the guy does sound like a violent stalker. He
Right.
sounds like he's escalating, not only with you, Aussie, but like other women. Like there are multiple victims and that this whole storyline. So I'm definitely, I'm glad that we did it, and I'm not sorry about it.
No, again,
Yeah.
I appreciate it. Just at the beginning of December, I was someone had reached out to me telling me that Steve had victimized another person. It was a gentleman who had never met Steve, never had any like interaction with him, and he completely doxed his place of work, like 3 o'clock in the morning, and like really just going at him. So that individual had reached out to the chief probation officer in Marlboro, and that was December 3rd. So I myself also reached out to her and kind of like explained the situation, let her know that I currently have an HPO, and she like called me back immediately. And I've been working with her since the beginning of December, and he was actually violated um, his probation in Marlboro on his birthday, December 19th. He was in court, and he was had to follow such strict restrictions in lieu of detention. And within less than 24 hours later, he already violated it.
Man, this
And
shock.
I can't believe they're not doing anything. Like
Well,
that's my boss.
yeah, but they are like, I mean,
Miss,
it's a slow process, but they want to make sure that they can really, really get him, and that there can't be like any way that uh, he can use as a defense that someone set him up, or with his freedom of speech, or anything like that. I truly appreciate the lady, because she has actually paid attention, she's listened, and she's been a blessing to this thing. I talk to her, it's like she keeps in touch with me like every day, and things are moving. So he has a court date coming up um, in January, and a court date in February, and then there's going to be more coming. So,
okay, Mrs. Ash, I'm sorry that he's in contact with you and that he's starting to send you messages. It gets more relentless from here. And blocking him, I'm sorry, I'm afraid to tell you, as soon as you block him, it's going to be 10 times more relentless. You're going to end up where we are right now. The only reason he can't come after me is because we don't have public records. So he doesn't know who I am, where I work, my real name, nothing. He knows nothing about me. So, and he can't find out anything about me, but you guys have public records. He can find all this shit out about you guys. And I'm sorry, Mrs. Ash, but I don't know what to tell you. I can't even say go to the police because I don't even think they're going to help you. But I guess it can't hurt to like add to the paper trail. I don't know. I don't
no,
know.
absolutely. If she has screenshots, she can send them to me on Twitter, and I can make sure that they get into the right
She
hands.
said that's why she hasn't blocked him. So he's not harassing her yet. He's just complaining about Turtle Boy. But as soon as she does
Oh,
block him, he's going to do this to her.
yeah.
So you're already caught between a rock and a hard place, Mrs. Ash. I didn't do anything to him. I didn't even know the guy existed until he was coming after me. I was like, what the hell is this dude's problem? Never heard of
Yeah.
him before. It actually was Speed Dot that had to fill me in because I was like, who the heck is this person? And what do they want? So, um, But yeah, I don't
Yeah,
even.
VDOT has been amazing. Like he's helped me throughout this whole process and like, keeping my head screwed on straight because there were times where I was just like, you know what? I'm washing my hands of the situation, I give up. And then it was kind of like, if I don't stop him, if we don't collectively stop him, he's just going to victimize the next person and it's just going to get worse. So I didn't want that guilt. So now I'm coming guns blazing against him. And anyone that he's affiliated with that is aiding him in the harassment, they can answer to it too at this point.
For sure. So there's people aiding him with this. Like I've only ever been attacked by him directly, so I didn't know that.
So he has friends who also have um, allegations against them for um, being inappropriate with children. And they also have sent food deliveries to people. And Steve actually wiretapped his friend where it was a video on YouTube where they both collectively were conspiring to take Kyle's child away from
Yeah.
him. Um, so yeah, it's so much deeper than just Cody. Like there's a whole ring of predators, and one by one, they're gonna fall. If it kills me, they're gonna be exposed for who and what they are. Like at this
Yeah.
point.
So
So
I'm
just
just
for
sorry.
sorry. No, I just
No,
had a question for Courtney. So like just can you like re-clarify how long has this been going on for and like how did he kind of come into stalking you? Was there like a point where he just kind of slid into your DMs and then he just kind of went at it? Or was there like a kind of like a catalyst?
Yeah, so back in like October, November of 23, we were friends on Facebook. He had sent me a friend request and like I accepted it because I saw that like he seems like, not all there. He seems very depressed. So I tried to like be a friend, and thought, maybe if he just has someone to talk to, like, he'll be good because there were, some instances where, he was, threatening to end it and stuff. And I kind of just wanted to be a shoulder for him. Well, fast forward to um, February, he had sent a vile note and a box of tampons to a gentleman in Belmont. Um, I'm sure you've heard of him, Grant
yeah.
Smith Ellis, and said that the tampons are for his bloody asshole because he suffers from a medical condition. So I had told C that that was completely and entirely inappropriate. Like it was not funny. Like you should never have done that. And that's when he was kicked out of Turtle Boy group. He was kicked out of Free Karen Reed group, like all of that, because of, it just wasn't something that anyone wanted to align with. After that, Jen and another woman, Suzanne, had obtained orders against him. And he kept like messaging me on Facebook, like saying like crazy stuff about them. Like, this one did a wellness check on me. This one's, doing this. I'm going to go after them. Crazy stuff. I just told him to back off, like ignore him, leave him alone. And because I would not go along with him and subscribe to his reality, he told me like in March, well, I have your docs ready to go. And I was like, okay. So I blocked him. And then that in turn spilled over to Twitter. And that's when he started, like honing in on me. And I'll admit, I was going toe to toe with him for a while too. And then finally, it was like, enough is enough. Leave me alone. Leave me alone. Like, I want nothing to do with you. And uh, yeah, so that's basically how it started. And then Kyle and a couple other people were like sticking up for me, and they were sticking up for like Jen. And then that's, when he kind of set his sights on Kyle and really started to go hard at him, which is weird because it's the only real like guy that he's gone after, because he's typically only goes after
Yeah,
women
and children.
or
Yeah,
children. Yeah, he doesn't typically go after like
because he's
men. And yeah, essentially, yeah, because he'll have no problem screaming at a woman, but he doesn't keep that same energy when he's face to face, you know, with a man his same size or, whatever. Um, but yeah, so that's basically what started it, is like I stuck up for Grant of all people, and then it just turned into this. It just was like a snowball effect from there.
wow. So many people had run-ins with him. Glamour Sue said that he posted her address, phone number, and pics of her complex on X. Mrs. Ash said he's claiming he's innocent and that people are targeting him. No, Steve, you're targeting people, okay? Did you not see the thousands of accounts
Yeah.
you just made? Like, hello, none of us are doing that shit to you. Like, hello.
See, like the thing is I would have more respect for him if he took accountability for his actions. If he ever like had the gut to say, "Hey, look, yeah, I messed up. Like I should never have done this." Like if he had the balls to actually take accountability for his actions, then I'd have like a little bit of respect for him. But the fact that he's the gaslighting that he does, and it's like, you know, some of the like conversations that he's having with other people that are being sent to me, like, oh yeah, like she's crazy, she needs mental help, like, or I'm gonna sue her. Like I can't tell you how many people have told me that this dude's gonna sue me for defamation and slander, but yet he can't prove anything that I've said is incorrect.
Right. Thanks for that wink, Abby. And I did have it, but I'm leaving it out for a reason. We'll get to this. In fact, Courtney, how many public apologies has this guy made and then gone and done it again?
Oh my god, I think we're maybe 10 at
Right.
least, where he'll do these like word docs that are, just like, I'm sorry, like, not saying like I'm sorry in so many words, but just saying like, oh, I need to do better. I'm just going to ignore everyone. I'm just going to like live my life. And then it's like not even 24 hours later, he's back on that same
Yeah.
BS.
Yeah.
He lives for it. He lives for
Yeah.
it.
He's addicted to it. And he
Oh
take it
my
off
God.
the internet
Yep.
so he can't do it. So he can break addiction.
Yeah.
Okay. I just wanted to point out Kevin's comment here because there is something that we can do. So there is a group that you can contact if you have issues with this man. Let me get it up on the screen for you. Um, there's a group that you can reach out to. They're taking everybody's complaints, no matter how big, small, petty, whatever. They will take them all. And let me just that. I'm working the screen a little bit slower today. Sorry, guys. Um, So here's the contact details for that. So it says, share your experience, your voice matters. Our organization is gathering first hand accounts and ongoing experiences related to an individual named Steve Coty. Inappropriate online continued harassment, unwarranted pursuit, or any other distressing incidents, especially the potentially involving younger individuals. If you or someone you know has encountered such experiences, please consider reaching out to us at antipredators.centralma@proton.me with the subject line ACPM. We welcome documented evidence to support your account, but also appreciate any details you can provide. Please note we aim to offer support without defamation or harm. and we uphold respect and responsibility. And we uphold respect and responsibility in our work. If you're affected by this individual's actions, we are here to help. So that's who you can contact if you're having issues with this particular person.
So I know, Courtney, you kind of touched on this a little bit, but you said that you were kind of, you haven't really come forward until like, recently about, the stalking. Was there reasons why people told you not to come forward, or was it just more of just like don't, you know, protect yourself not to escalate, his stalking further, or what was kind of your concerns about coming out initially?
So part of it had to do with, you know, allowing other people's cases to take precedent over what I was going through. So I kind of like took a step back to let that play out. So I wasn't like clouding everything and, having it come from, all sorts of different directions. But then I was also kind of like reluctant to reach out because it becomes real,
Yeah.
I guess, if that, as stupid as it sounds, but it becomes real that this is actually something that's going on. And I kind of wanted to sweep it under the rug and not, pay mind to it. But once I saw how it was affecting my girls, every time the mailman came and a new package came, you know, I couldn't let it go anymore. And then when I was seeing other people who were nothing but gracious to me, like, helping me out, throughout, um, giving me, sending messages of like encouragement and support. And then in turn, seeing them be victimized by him, it just wasn't right. So I kind of
It's
just
really brave.
had to forget about what everyone else was going through. And I kind of had to put myself first, which is really hard because I don't typically
Yeah.
do that. Um, but like I had a lot of support from like Sema, Sandy, and Kyle to kind of like, you know, reiterate that what I'm going through is real. I matter. And what I have to say needs to be said. So if it wasn't for them, I don't know what I'd do, to be
I mean,
honest.
it's terrifying. It's terrifying because he, again, he's in front of your house. He's sending mail to your house. He doesn't live that far away. He's clearly escalating. And that's where I find you just incredibly brave for coming forward, because even, sometimes with stalkers, if they are escalating this much, coming forward is just kind of like, really putting yourself out there and being like, hey, it might get worse if I do this. But this situation matters so
Yeah.
much. And I'm so scared of this person that something needs to be done. And other victims need to come forward. So I applaud your bravery. And
Mm.
I mean, I am so sorry for you. That is, I mean, that's
Suze,
terrifying.
Glamour Suze, have you
I
contacted anyone,
appreciate
Glamour
that.
Suze, about this? Because if
I'm
I'm
sorry,
just
what was that?
asking Glamour Suze if the harassment that she has got, she's reported it, or has she contacted these people that are collecting all the evidence? Like, like I know some people feel like they're tough and they can just take it, because that's kind of how I've been dealing with it. Like, he doesn't scare me because I live in Australia. What's he gonna do? Even if he came here, 70% of Australia is uninhabited. How's he gonna find me?
Well, what concerns me too is that he's kind of taking, he's escalating and he's taking actions. He's sending things to people's houses. He put a dead turtle in somebody's lawn. I mean, that's on another level. Like I could
Yeah.
take, somebody coming at me on Twitter or,
Well, it's
harassing me,
domestic
even though I
terrorism.
shouldn't accept it. But I mean, that is a whole nother level.
That's domestic terrorism.
Yeah.
Yeah, it essentially
Yeah.
is. It really is. And he uses like, and there was another woman. I'm not going to mention her name because I don't think she wants, any attention. But there was another individual that did
Oh,
have an order on him, and her police department was like, he doesn't drive, he can't get to you, so like, let it go. Like, don't try to get the extended order. Well, she didn't. and that whether or not she was inclined not to do so because she spoke with law enforcement or whatever her reasoning was, that's her her business. But the thing is he utilizes Uber and
I
Lyft
was literally just going to say
to
that.
get everywhere. And I saw Mrs. Ash had mentioned it. Um, he went all the way to Brooklyn, New York to confront someone. And when you have the ability to do that or the drive to do that, that's freaking
That's
creepy.
insane. That's insane.
Like all the way to Brooklyn. Like he's gone to people like his, you know, frenemy, his partner in crime's house down in Connecticut, and that, whatever, it's a hop, skip, and a jump. But Brooklyn, New York, I'm just like, wow, okay,
That takes
okay.
a lot of like funds too. I
Yeah,
mean,
yeah, it does.
for even just sending people pizzas, utilizing Uber all the way to Brooklyn, New York. I mean, Jesus Christ, that must be what, like at least
Yeah,
like a $500 Uber ride. I mean, I'm just making that number up, but
yeah,
that that's dedication. And that's scary as hell.
it is.
That goes beyond the internet. I mean, there's one thing to have an internet stalker,
Yeah,
but I mean, not that that's any less terrifying and scary and concerning, but it's also terrifying and concerning because I mean, he's going above and beyond of just a normal stalker. He's
yeah.
taking significant action.
Oh, yeah. And like he'll go so far, like he'll go to someone's home or apartment complex, and like I think I saw Suzanne like mention it, like he'll look for cameras. And like he'll put in the tweet with the pictures, like, "Oh, I didn't see any cameras here. Oh, I didn't see any cameras there." Who the f does that?
Do you have security cameras?
I do
For
now.
sure. That would be the first
I,
thing
I
I
do now.
Yeah,
Jesus.
I mean, I actually have some extra cameras that I bought. I can actually send your way if you want, some more coverage or anything. You can hit me up in the DMs afterwards, and I can send them to you.
Oh, that's so
I just
sweet.
have them lying around, so for sure, let me know.
Oh, I appreciate that. That's so sweet. Yeah, we had to get cameras like after that. I couldn't, I have to make sure that my kids are safe first and foremost. Like whatever happens to me, but my kids, you know what I mean? Like
Yeah, I mean
I can't mess around with
and he
that.
already has a history of again sending things to children and doing things to children. Like
Yeah.
no effing way.
And that, yeah. And that was the thing. Like so after I had like blocked him on Facebook, that's when like I found out about, like him doing that, like uploading pictures and stuff. He had access to pictures of my children. So then, me and my like, you know, irrational mind was like, oh my God, he knows what my kids look like. My kids, like, there's pictures of my kids at the beach. Like, could he have taken a picture of my child and like uploaded it? Like, my mind went like berserk when that
But that's
happened.
not
And then finding out, like,
that's not an irrational fear. I don't want to cut you off, but that's not an irrational fear. Like everything you're saying right now is completely valid and concerning. But sorry, continue. I was just wanting to throw that out there.
oh, no, no, that's okay. I felt like, and, that, and then, I had made like a comment, like, about, like, how I said, like, my daughter's school was called. And then he kind of said, like, oh, I don't know, her daughter's name and stuff. Like, dude, you had access to my Facebook. You absolutely know my daughter's name. You knew my husband's name. Like, you know my daughter's name. Like, you had access to that. And so it's like he was trying to like blame these other people, like like someone from Florida. It's like, he's never been on my Facebook. My Facebook is private. In order to see anything, you have to be my friend. And I extended that olive branch to him to help him out when I saw that like he was like depressed and needing someone. And then that was like, I don't know. I got to be more selective with like who I accept friend requests from because that was just too much.
Wow. So, um, where do things currently stand now? How long is your HPO for?
So it goes until the end of July. Um, I have no doubt that I'll be able to extend the HPO with everything that I have. Um, I'm actually in the process of going down to the courthouse probably after the first, only because now there's like stuff going on with Marlboro to file criminal harassment charges against him and amend the HPO.
Hmm.
So,
Wow.
Interesting.
so yeah. But his next court date for the violation in Marlboro is January 22nd. Um,
Right.
so hopefully we'll see what happens with that. But I mean, there's so much evidence against him, where he's violated. I just don't see him uh, beating it. I really don't.
So
So,
when I get even the screenshot we got earlier on of him trying to jump into this live stream, like even that's not enough because in his real name, that's what he's doing, right? He's he's not trying.
right.
He's trying not to use his real name. He's coming in with nicknames so that you can't, so that because he knows that the cops are saying, well, we can't tell if that's him.
But see, the problem is at this point, he's developed such a strong
Yeah.
pattern. Like,
We all do it
Worcester
with
is
him.
not aware of a
It's the
pattern.
pattern. We
That's the pattern. I mean,
Yeah, it's a pattern.
we've been dealing with it for a lot
And
less
that,
longer than you have, and we saw the patterns.
yeah,
Like,
well,
yeah, that's the thing. And he's like, you can't use anything from 10 years ago. I'm like, you absolutely can because it establishes a pattern. Like, anyone that's taken a psychology class or a law class will know, like, this is exactly what law enforcement looks at. Like, it's an MO. You have an MO. It's very clear. It's
yeah.
clear as day. You never deviate from it. The verbiage he uses in all his comments and Twitter posts, it's identical. It's identical. The only thing that's not is the numbers that you slap on the end of CC.
you know what's interesting is I have experience with a restraining order. I dated a dude in college. He turned out to be, he was very mentally ill. Kind of escalated over the years, but I remember when I was in Massachusetts, like those restraining orders, like they don't do anything. Like I remember he
No.
violated the restraining order multiple times, could never get him on a single thing. And then I'll say it. I live in Connecticut, and Connecticut actually takes that stuff very seriously. Like it's a felony here. Is it a
Yeah.
felony there if he
Yeah.
violates the restraining order? Yeah,
No.
that's the
No.
problem. Because once there's a felony in there, they'll
Yeah.
they'll throw you right in jail. Like Connecticut's not a place that you want to mess with
Yeah.
people and stalking.
Yeah, that's the one thing I hate about Massachusetts. Like, unrelated, but I had gone in to obtain a restraining order against my ex. I had a broken jaw, and the judge denied it. Literally had a broken jaw, and the judge denied it. So when I was able to get the order against Steve, I was like, wait, really? Like, are you sure? I'm like looking at the CO. I'm like, did that really just happen? Like, oh, okay. So I don't need a broken jaw. I just need 90 Twitter accounts and someone saying, I might be in Worcester. Be ready, bitch. Okay. Like, if I knew it was that easy. Like,
Yeah,
so Massachusetts is ass backwards with
they
that.
are. They're probably the worst state that I've ever seen with restraining orders. I mean, there was a point that and again, this was in college, so this was like 15 years ago, and the dude still like reemerges every couple of years. But I remember there was one point when he was really bad, and I just was like, what's the point of even going to these court hearings? Because they're not doing anything.
Yeah.
And I went at them really hard. And I was like, you know what, screw this. I'm moving out of the state anyway. So whatever.
Yeah.
It's they need to do some major changes for victims of domestic violence in Massachusetts, for stalking in Massachusetts, because honestly, at the end of the day, even if they do violate the restraining order, what are the consequences? Connecticut is a felony there, misdemeanor.
Starts with the
Yeah.
cops. The cops are going to
Yeah.
friggin' lay the charges, and they're obviously not doing that. There are
Yeah.
there are
Right.
statutes, as Kevin is pointing out here, there are statutes, and like part of the witness intimidation statute is actually inclusive of domestic violence, where the abuser is threatening the individual to try and prevent them from having charges pressed, for example. So there is
Right.
plenty there to cover it. That the cops aren't doing it, right?
Right. And unfortunately, aside from like the Karen Reed case, like the FBI and the United States Attorney has been like really hammering down on police departments, and Worcester's no exception. Like there's, an investigation into Worcester right now going on, and I think like right now they're in like damage control. So they just they don't take anything like that serious. And I kind of like told one of the officers that came to my house, I said, what has to happen? Like, does he have to come to my house and hurt me? And his response was, well, if he comes to your house, then that's definitely a violation. I said, but everything else that I'm showing you is not. Like, how, like, I had a stack of mail and packages. How is this not a violation? Well, I don't know. I'm like, okay, thanks for the help,
That is
bro.
directly violating a
Like,
restraining
thanks.
order. It doesn't just matter separate from the internet. That mail should have been taken as a
Yeah,
violation of, I mean, that's what it would be in Connecticut. That would be a violation of a restraining order.
yeah,
Like mail, electronic communication, they even take internet, internet messages, even if it's just like
yeah.
alluding to who they are, like they will take that and run with it. So maybe it's just the Worcester Police Department too. Like they need a fire lit under their ass to get off their ass and actually take
Yeah,
action.
absolutely. That's why I went above them and just went right to Marlboro. And I was just like, look, something needs to happen. And like, I actually filed a complaint with the Postmaster General, and they're taking it so serious. Like, I was actually taken aback at just how serious they're taking it. Like, they are doing a full fledged investigation, and they are going to send subpoenas to find out where every article of mail came from. And once they tie down to who it is, like these are federal
Yeah,
charges. This isn't misdemeanor state charges. This is federal. So I was like, oh, okay. And they're like, well, would you want to press charges? I said, absolutely.
absolutely.
I said, I don't care if it was him, his auntie, his daddy, his dog, his cat. I'm pressing charges. And, they're kind of like saying, well, it can be considered identity fraud because he's using my last name. It's mail fraud. It's sending mail under false pretenses. So this is no joke. So I'm like, okay, so now we're finally getting somewhere. So now it's like, momentum is coming, and now I feel better. But for a while it was just
It's
like,
never.
you
Where
know, it was being
are we
defeated.
Yeah,
there
it sounds like
yet?
a never ending nightmare.
Mm,
Yeah,
Jesus.
absolutely. Absolutely. I can't tell you, like, December 3rd, I'll never forget it, was the best night of sleep I've had since February, because I talked to the chief probation officer and I was like, wow, okay, she gets it. She's going to do something. I slept like a freaking baby.
Oh my God. The statutes even support it. Like, let me put this on the screen. This is bloody ridiculous. The police just want an excuse to not do anything, don't they? They're just lazy. They just don't want to have to do it. Because have a look at this. The very first paragraph says, whoever willfully and maliciously engages in a knowing pattern of conduct or series of acts over a period of time directed at a specific person, which seriously alarms that person and would cause a reasonable person to suffer substantial emotional distress, not I'm just a little upset because there's a ducky on the front freaking steps. Substantial emotional distress shall be guilty of the crime of criminal harassment and shall be punished by imprisonment in a house of correction for not more than 2.5 years, or by a fine if of not more than $5,000, or by such fine and imprisonment. The conduct or acts described in this paragraph shall include, but not be limited but not be limited to conduct by mail or by use of telephonic or communication device or electronic communication device, excluding but not limited to any device that transfers signs, signals, writing, images, sounds, data, or intelligence of any nature transmitted in whole or in part by wire, radio, electromagnetic, photoelectronic. I mean, he's pretty much breached all of these, right? Not limited to electronic mail, internet communications, instant messages, or facsimile communications. Nuts. It covers it right there. That's exactly, he's done all of that. So it boils down to that the cops just don't want to do it.
That's exactly what it is, unfortunately.
So in essence, the reason I wanted to do this stream is firstly to give you your voice because I want you to have your voice back. I understand that it's been very difficult when everyone just says, no, no, don't talk about it. Let's not bring that up. It'll make everybody else look bad. That just frustrates me to no end, and Abby as well.
Yeah.
But secondly, because I want the other creators to know when they're getting super chats and all sorts of stuff from him, what he's trying to do. It's a game to him. It's not he genuinely wanted to send you $10 because he likes your show. It's a game, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Jeff says it's the same in Australia. You have to tell police what code that the law they have broken. Well, Jeff, I actually had a Australian stalker, and I had to collect pages and pages and pages before they would go and even just knock on her door and say, "Will you stop it?" And she stopped. Like they could have done that like 6 months ago, before when this all started. They could have just gone and said, like, "If you keep it up, we're going to have to book you." But no, they waited 6 months later until my whole family had been terrorized, and she'd tried to run my sister and her kids off the road thinking it was me, and it was crazy shit. But yeah, it's
Oh
no
my
better in
God.
Australia, honestly. They just don't want to have to do the work, basically. So, but they do want to do it, as Olivia Nile points out, when it's people like Total Boy exposing their
Yeah.
corruption, or when it's Chrissy Albert whose feelings are hurt. Jesus Christ. But anyway, it really just doesn't surprise me that this is coming out of the same county as as all this other corruption. Like it's a DA Morrissey thing, isn't it? Where you are?
No, so where I am, it's our district attorney is Joseph
Early.
Early,
Yeah.
who himself is no stranger to corruption.
Right.
So it's a Massachusetts thing at this point. I don't think anyone is safe in this state, to be
Mm.
honest. Like, I mean, this is a state where it's, if you want to get help, it's who you know, who you blow type thing. And
It's nuts.
that's the reality of it,
Completely nuts. I,
you
I
know.
really, I'm just gobsmacked that you have been through so much, and it's not just you. We knew that there were others before you. We know this goes back multiple years. This goes back to at least 2013
Yeah.
that we can see here just on record, like public record. So I just can't believe that it can go on for so many years and escalate the way it is now. Like, in 2013, he started out, his first complaint was just he was messaging someone too much. Now we're at
Yeah.
the point where you've got pages and pages and pages of block, 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 and it all says Steve Cody, and they're scratching their heads going, "How do we know if it's Steve Cody?"
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. It's like,
Yeah.
well, they're like, oh, someone could be setting him up. I'm like, okay, do we not know what third party contact is? Because even if it was someone setting him up and they're contacting me, that's third party contact. But they're just like, well, our supervisor is just, so reluctant. Just keep calling, keep calling. I get better results when I call Clinton than I do my own police department.
Oh yeah, I mean Worcester's the worst. Honestly, I've had experiences in Worcester. Literally the
It's
worst police
terrible.
department. Well, it's
It's
horrible.
a
Horrible. They
joke.
don't take it seriously. They just they're like, oh, we have better things to do.
Oh yeah.
But then
Oh yeah.
what happens is that people like this, they escalate over time. I'm not saying that he is going to escalate to a point of physical violence, but it kind of appears that way.
What do you
So
call the total? Like that was definitely a
yeah.
threat of physical violence. That was a little bit more than using bots to create thousands of accounts. That's
But he has been in a physical fight. Like it has gotten physical with his neighbor.
he
Um, like regarding this. So like he's already hitting like every I don't know, like I don't want to call it a milestone, but like trifecta, like of he's going to either severely hurt someone or someone's going to severely hurt him. And I could not stress that enough to the police. I'm like, look, something needs to be done because it's going to be bad. You know, he's cruising like he's the type of person that will push buttons to see how far he can go. And he's now teetering on like thin
Yeah.
rope. And he's gonna cross the wrong person. And then who is gonna be to blame? You know, we're in a society where we're more reactive than proactive. And is so evident in this case and other cases surrounding him. It's like someone has to get hurt physically before he's held accountable. And that is so wrong on so many
And
levels. No one should be in fear.
and that's gonna, that will bite Worcester in the ass, and it will, because there are, and I won't even cite the case like in the surrounding towns that I live in, but there's been multiple cases of the police at one point ignoring like this recessive stalking. This guy was stalking this mother, was like a woman, like I think, well, she had like three children. And I mean, this was more, wasn't so much internet, but it was like a violent ex. And she just kept going and saying, look, like, I'm having problems with the police department. The police department ignored it. And then, sure enough, 6 months later, she ends up murdered. So it comes to a
Yeah,
point where, I'm not saying that in this case specifically, because I won't say that, but I will say when people have pattern stalking, it's only a matter of time before the assailant snaps, and somebody has to get hurt in order to do that. And now, like the surrounding towns that I live in, like if you have a stalking problem or if you have somebody harassing you, they'll be at your door in like 5 minutes. They take it very serious. It didn't make
yeah,
them look good, because this was a situation. And
right.
there was multiple, I mean, I think this woman went to court over like 50 times for it and nothing was done. And that's why they
Yeah,
kind of enacted new laws too in Connecticut, where it is a felony, and it's a serious offense. And if you even go near electronic communication, text messages, packages, like, you will go down for it, and you will get multiple, and
yeah,
every single violation of that restraining order is a felony.
yeah. Something definitely needs to happen. Like as far as like what HPOs entail, like their excuse is like, well, the social media is a gray area, and it shouldn't be. It should be black and white. It should be clear cut. Harassment, stalking, doxing is just what it
Mhm.
is. It doesn't shouldn't matter if it's online, in person,
Yeah,
whatever. You know, something needs to be done. The statutes that are in Massachusetts are a
they're a
freaking
joke.
joke.
They're a joke.
They're a joke. And, you know, I, at this point, it's like, and again, like having to say, like, what has to happen, for not even just me. It's like the case that you were talking about. It's like you have someone that is actively trying to get help, that is seeking help, that is crying out for help, and you're casting her aside. And then now it's okay, well, now we're in reactive stage when you had every ample opportunity to protect this mother and you
yeah.
didn't do it.
They're too busy
And they're going to be
protecting
sorry that they're,
the McAlberts. They'll pull out no stops to protect the McAlberts. It's rotten.
Mhm.
Oh,
It's rotten.
absolutely. But again, it's who you know, who you blow. If you are high up on the food chain, then they'll take you serious. If you're just some Jane Doe, John Doe, tax-paying citizen, they're not going to give a rat's ass about
Yeah.
you. Like you're a peasant to them. They don't want to deal with the paperwork. They'd rather, you know, be down on, Main South checking out the prostitutes that they have down there than actually dealing with actual legitimate issues that are going on within the city. And that's why, like, I've gotten, been in contact with lawyers trying to figure out, like, what my options are because this has gone on for so long and nothing's being
Yeah.
done. Like, could I, you know, should I file, pull a Cody and file a complaint against the Worcester Police Department?
You could. I would.
Should I, yeah, I mean, that's where I'm at this point. Like I used to work at a bakery that was had WXLO on the top floor. I'm ready to like call them and be like, hey, can I pay to have you run something on the radio just to kind of like say what's going on? Like I'm ready to like reach out to Howie Carr and to people and just be and make some fucking noise until someone like really understands the severity of the situation. Like, yeah, you're right. You can't say like this situation is the same as the mother that was killed, but who's willing to play Russian
Right.
roulette?
Yeah,
How
and
much
they
of
shouldn't.
how much of this occurred before she got killed? That was all the red flags where they could have saved a lot.
Hmm.
Right,
Yeah.
exactly. And I'm not, don't get me wrong, like, I'm not trying to be like
It's
dramatic
not
and say
dramatic.
like he's capable of it. But the point is, you know, once you're escalating to the point where that is now in the back of your
Well, once
mind,
you've escalated,
anything is
once you've escalated
possible.
to the point where you're hanging a dead turtle on someone's porch whose mother's dying, that's that's gone past like some bots are creating accounts and harassment. That's a death threat. That's like an that's a straight
Yeah,
out death threat. So what do we go to from there?
yeah,
Where do we go from a death threat? Really, we go to right.
exactly.
So I don't know that you are overreacting. I think we're at that point. Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
I think it's escalating to
It's
a
just,
point where there is a very real possibility that he's going to keep escalating. Because what happens is they start to get
yeah,
bored and then they have to elevate and then elevate and elevate. And then
yes,
it turns into a really tragic situation. So what the police like, and again, they're they backtrack once something happens like that. They're very like, oh, we're going to do this moving forward. The better move is to be, proactive. Like, what can we do to get this guy off the street
right,
before he hurts
exactly.
somebody? And seriously, because he could kill somebody. He could hurt
Yeah, he
somebody. He could
really could.
physically, there. It's all of the realm of possibilities. But I think that is, I think it's good that you're making some noise. And if you need help with that, like, let me know.
Right.
I appreciate
We
that.
we, we started the noise today.
We started the noise today.
Yes,
We can
Today
keep it
absolutely.
we're
up.
making noise. Today we're going to say not only do we want justice for the people that we've been screaming for justice for because they have been killed, but we would like the police to do more to prevent people from being killed. How about that for an
Absolutely.
idea?
Absolutely. It's like the birth of a movement right here because, as horrible as he is, there's a million other people like him out there. It doesn't start and end with him. Like his type of person is like his kinfolk are out there. And I just hope to God that something happens before someone is really, really hurt or something happens that you can't walk back
Yeah,
from.
I agree.
And I'm really afraid that we are at that point. I really think we're at that point, and his whole thing right now is making himself look like the victim. He's like, oh, I just wish people would leave me alone. Well, why couldn't you have done that when I
To
asked
leave you
you per
just
month?
right.
Leave me
I only
alone.
I not only asked him, I've blocked him. Like You block him, he comes back. You block him, he comes back. Stop coming back, dickhead. If you
Yeah.
think it's you that's being picked on, stop doing it. Like, hello, we'll all leave you
Yeah.
alone if you just stop doing it.
Yeah. 100%. And then, and then you have people like, I'm just going to touch on this real quick if you don't mind. There's a guy on Twitter. His name's Dustin. He's from Canada. And he's like going off like on like a mental health spiral. And I don't say that, to mock him or lightly. He's kind of, yelling at me because I haven't done anything to put Steve in jail. I'm not doing anything. He's like sending me all this information. He's like looking for clout. He's looking for attention. He's looking for credit. And you have people like that who are in my inbox who are like, oh, well, he did A, B, C, and D. And then it's like, well, why didn't you do X, Y, and Z? Why didn't you fill out an affidavit? Why didn't you call authorities? Why didn't you do this? Why are you putting this all on me? Like, you had ample opportunity. You've been dealing with him for 8 years. So where the hell were you? And now he's just like, well, just give me credit because I sent you videos. And it's like, well, what you sent me was a bare ass picture of Steve Colt playing basketball. And I don't think that that's really beneficial to the case or to anyone's eyes. But, it's just, you have people like him who just want to have like a piece of the attention. And that's sick. That's not why I'm doing this. This is real life. This is my life. Like, I don't crave attention. That's the other reason why I didn't want to, put my name out there or say anything because I don't want the attention. This is reality. This isn't a joke. This isn't a game. Some people think it's like, you know, oh, I love it. Like attention whores. Like they just love it. I don't get that.
Right.
And I think it's really easy to say that when you're not in this situation, like, oh, you should have done this. Have you ever dealt with a violent
Yeah.
stalker in the state of Massachusetts? It is not easy. It is extremely difficult to even get the police to even pay attention to you. And I've been saying this for months too, of
Yeah.
just, on other various situations of not specifically Steve Cody, but they have they view this kind of stuff as not relevant, but yet they're going after rubber duckies. Like that's what annoys me
Oh my
whole
God.
friggin'
Yeah.
thing. It's what I don't matter. A human doesn't matter.
Put it this way, Worcester is so disgusting. Like, so you're familiar with Worcester, so you know Kelly
Yeah, I
Square,
know Kelly
right?
Square.
So I used to work at the Emerald Isle on Millbury
No
Street.
way.
My I worked there for a while. My ex dog walked me by my hair, punching me down Millbury Street, through Kelly Square to the Salty Dog in front of three cops, and they just laughed. And they thought, oh, looks like that girl can't handle her liquor. I'm being physically attacked going through Kelly Square, and they just stood there and laughed. So, yeah, Worcester, they don't give a shit about anything other than themselves.
Yeah, that doesn't surprise me at all.
So,
I
yeah.
used to bartend in Worcester, and I remember one time my ex was stalking
Oh,
me,
God, yeah.
and like they said something to me because I called them because he kept showing up at my work, and they're like, "What do you want us to do about it?" I was like, "I don't know, arrest him." Like I have a restraining order. They're like, well, we can't do that. And I'm like, why can't you? I mean, it was such a joke at the time. And this guy was literally telling me he was going to try to
Yeah,
kill me every day. Like, but nothing I could do about it. So when people say, oh, you should have done this, you should have done that, like, you don't know until you've been there.
yeah, it's not as easy as it
No.
sounds. It's a lot harder than they think. And it's just like, and then it, yeah, you're right. It's so easy for other people to be so judgmental and nitpicky about what you're going through, but they have no
No.
idea,
Totally.
none at all.
That's right, especially when it's as relentless as this is. Like, we just went through some relentless BS for the last 2 days. We didn't even get Christmas
I
Day
know, that's
off.
crazy.
It was like Christmas Day and Boxing Day, wasn't it, Abby? It was relentless.
It was
Obsessed,
relentless.
obsessive, continual. It's just one person, so I kind of switched off a lot sooner than Abby did. She got a longer fuse than I have, but um, it was relentless, and and that's just really not. It's not the type of harassment that you went through. This is just bad words said on the internet. This is nothing like what you went through. People turning up to your house and sending you shit, and oh my god, I can't even
I did
imagine.
not know. I mean, honestly, when you first told me that he was, stalking you and targeting you and stuff, and I was like, I was concerned. But hearing all of this stuff, and especially because you told me about the dead turtle, I think it was coming out like the dead turtle and all that other stuff. I'm like, yeah, I mean, that's scary. But I had no idea that he was that that bad. I
I
mean,
think a
I'm
lot of
afraid for you
people
now too.
I think a lot of people out there don't realize that he's that bad. Like, Turtle
Mhm.
Boy, he's a male, so he's not afraid of him. And I got to admit that, Cody's a freaking wimp, all right? And the reason you know that is because he targets women and children. He'll never target men. The only man I've ever seen him actually do this to, as far as I've seen, is VDOT. But I haven't seen him do it to any other men. But then when VDOT went and turned up on his doorstep, he like ran back inside and locked the door like a freaking wimp. So that's
And then called the
called the
cops.
cops. And that's why I think that he didn't kill the turtle because he's too wimpy. He just found some roadkill or something, got someone else to kill it, but there's no way he did it because he's too wimpy. He couldn't even man up to that, like I'm just reading in the chat there before that somebody else, he was blocking someone's way and being obnoxious about it and almost got into a kerfuffle there. But then, he's just a wimp. You're not gonna see him like battle his way out of it like men do. So he's just a wimp. He's a child. He's a
Yeah.
crybaby. I'm so innocent, crybaby. It's like, man, grow up. But you don't have to worry about me, Abby. I'm safe in Australia. What's he gonna do to me
Yeah.
here?
Yeah, yeah, I mean, I'm actually really glad that you live in Australia now,
Yeah.
to be honest.
Yeah, me too.
I'm really glad that you live in Australia. But yeah, I mean, I guess my main concern is that he is going to, snap. Because I feel like eventually, I have experience with, like again, like a stalker, and he eventually freaking snapped, and it's like, but what's the severity of him snapping? And I think that it's getting to the point where, I mean, you saw even in the chat, there's multiple people he's been doing this to. So something needs to happen. Something needs to happen.
Right.
And I'm just hoping it happens before it's too late.
Yeah. I mean, I'm willing to go on your crusade to, bring awareness to it. 100%.
That would be incredible. Honestly, that would be incredible because, I'm hoping that we can get, something done within the court to kind of make it so that online stalking and harassing and doxing is not so gray. Like there shouldn't be any room for, you know, error when it comes to that. It should be cut and dry.
Well, and
So
particularly too, if, when you have a restraining order against somebody and they do that, that could be, again, perceived as, physical harm. I think that you're absolutely correct. And even the Worcester Police Department, we can definitely talk about it on, offline and see like what we can do to like really, maybe it's, kind of putting a spotlight on them, because I think that they do need a spotlight, because this isn't just like you said, this isn't a new thing. I mean, I knew this, and this was back in 2000, 2008. It's not a new thing.
yeah,
So I think that they need to take it more seriously before something does happen.
Yeah. Well,
absolutely. It's like as
whatever you
tech.
do decide to do is make sure that everybody who has a story about him contacts these people. I'm definitely going to contact them and send them screenshots. So, um, just so that there's so, he's not just doing this to locals. He's going interstate. He's going overseas. He's just targeting women and children essentially. So.
Yeah.
So yeah, whatever you guys end up discussing together, it'll be great if you can do something that moves things forward, but at least make sure that these people have the evidence as well, because they look like they might be actually organized enough to be able to do something.
I mean,
Yeah, no,
I
absolutely.
think even me and you, us, we can keep elevating this on the platform, and then I'll reach out to some people that I know in media, in Massachusetts that if you're okay with it, and again, we can all three talk offline together. But I would love to,
Yeah.
help you facilitate that, and let me, let us know, not just me, but I mean, if Aussie, I'm sure you're game. Let us know what we can do.
Yeah, no, absolutely. All the help is greatly appreciated because, I definitely want something to be done because there are so many other victims out there. And, I do have information like from requesting police reports from various police departments. So I am inclined to kind of like maybe reach out, in a, uh, to see like if they want to kind of address like what they went through or if they just, because I think the more people that kind of collectively get together, the better. And it will get the message
For
across. I mean, it's hard when you only have like two or three people because, your voices really won't be heard. But if, we kind of have like, a bunch of people that have been, who have dealt with him, they might be more inclined to
Yeah.
listen.
And I think people
So,
need to stop telling the victims to be quiet. If you ignore it, it goes away. That's not how it works with this dude. This dude is a level of obsessed that that shit doesn't work. So I fell into that mindset. Yeah, just ignore it. It'll go away. Just ignore it. Don't give him any air. He'll go away, but he fucking doesn't. He doesn't go away. He
no,
has,
no, it emboldens
right,
him more.
right.
And
You've got to do something about it. He has to be punished, or he's not going to stop.
Yeah. Enough is enough. This has been going on for way too long. And if I ever made a New Year's resolution that I'm going to stick with, it's to make sure that he's held
For
accountable.
sure, for sure. Well, if you know of any other of his victims that want to come up and talk, they need their voices back. We're quite happy to give them their voices back. Um,
Absolutely. That would be
yeah, yeah.
awesome.
I know that there's some that are afraid to talk, um, and there's
Yeah.
others that have been through it, got what they wanted out of the punishment side of it, and moved on and don't care beyond that. So it would be good if we could all just come together, even if you have got to that point, that we could all just come together and like save those as well who are going through it ongoing. So um, yeah, if anyone wants to come forward and talk about it, please. I mean, that's what we need to do. We need to let the other creators know that these people are in our communities doing this and abusing people this way, um, so that they know when they see, their super chats and shit pop up on the screen. I mean, you can't stop a super chat from coming through, but it's going to be, a completely different reception that he's not going to be feeling as welcomed as he was because nobody knew about it. But this is the point of speaking up about it. Now people do know about it. So, and this person is in this particular community. I'm not in Massachusetts, boots on the ground, so I don't have to protect anyone, but I want to, as far as I can from where I sit here. So
even keeping in an anonymity, just to riff off what you were saying, Aussie, because I get, it is terrifying, especially from what you said of what he's been doing to you. And if, anybody's afraid to come forward and just say, I have a story, and they don't want to give their names, they don't want to give any personal details about, themselves. We can even keep it more generalized so the details don't, tip them off. But
yeah,
I think
I
it's
think I can
important.
actually even work a voice changer. I think I can actually work one of those to like disguise a voice as well. If you want to come on and talk about it, you don't want your name or your voice or anything attached to it. I think I can work something like that out for you.
Yeah, and I think too, we can, um, even if they don't feel comfortable being on a live stream, because it does take, it's kind of nerve wracking, and especially if you're scared, we can always do a pre-recorded interview where we can again keep your anonymity. We could probably, I can definitely change the voice, off of the pre-recording,
Yeah,
just so you would
we've
be
done
able to see what's going to
pre-records.
air.
We've done a couple of pre-records now, so we're professionals. No, I'm just
Yeah, because
we're not
I
really.
feel for you, Courtney. I mean, it's just my mind is blown. I'm actually I'm terrified. I'm terrified for you. I'm terrified that you have to go through this, and anything me and Aussie can do, to help, we would love to.
Yeah,
I really appreciate
yeah.
that.
All right. So,
And I appreciate you giving me the ability to come on to your show and kind of like just lay out everything that has happened. And I honestly cannot thank you both enough for that.
it's
And
been our pleasure. Is there anything else that you would like to address that you've been nervous about addressing, or haven't addressed directly because you're worried about something else?
Not that I can think of off the top of my head, but I probably will think of something
That's
later. But um, it's been a lot to kind of like actually address this to people other than, my little tribe of people that I kind of like rely
yeah.
on. Um, so it's a lot, but I'm glad that I did it. Kind of, I feel better now that it's out there, and hopefully, other people can see that, you can speak up. You don't have to be afraid, and we are trying to do something.
Right. Is
So,
am I to understand that the father actually helps him do this harassment?
so I wholeheartedly feel that his father is complicit in what he's doing. There have been times where Clinton PD has responded to his home or his apartment, and his father said that he's not there, and he's 100% there. Um, his brother had moved his computer into the living room to kind of like, I guess, make it so that what he's doing is known. And so now, like, he doesn't have the privacy to like hide in his room to do a lot of like the videos that he was doing before. But I 100% believe his father is involved to some degree. There's no way that his father can't know what his son is doing when, he has police coming and serving him numerous orders. They're coming to check on him. Like, he's calling the cops himself. Like, at some point, like, his father needs to put his foot down and be like, look, this isn't right. We need to get you help. And, that's not happening. So I feel
See,
like,
in the article,
again,
in the article that I read from 2019, the father's defending him, saying he's a victim. So
yeah,
it sounds
yeah.
like, and at the very least, enabling him.
at the
But
very least,
Oh, 100%, 100%. And I kind of feel bad. Like, the mother in me is like, he lost his mother when he was young. So that's kind of where, like, I had empathy for him in the beginning. And then I kind of was like, he just needs help. He needs, guidance. And then it was just like, no, I keep forgetting, like, he's a grown
yeah,
adult. He's a grown man. He's 30 years old now. And if he doesn't have his shit together now, he never
yeah,
will. I know men tend to mature later than women, but I mean, I just don't see him ever living in society like a normal person. Like, I just don't see it. I don't see him holding a job, having a family, having his own home, having a car. Like, I don't see that for him. And part of me is like, thank the freaking Lord that he'll never reproduce, because that is scary. That's a
yeah,
scary thought. As fucked up as it is to say, like, I'm glad he will never
yeah.
reproduce. But I'm just like, I just don't see him being a productive member of society ever. I just don't. I don't think he ever had the, like, he was ever taught right. I just don't think there's hope for him. And I usually think that there's hope for everyone. Him, I just don't. I just don't.
Radio. Lena wants to jump up. as well and have say something. And I know that she has been one of part of your support circle. That's right, isn't it?
Oh yes, she's been
Yeah, yeah.
amazing.
So, V dot, can you send that link over to Semele just because I'd have to actually track her down to find her on X to send it to her. I know she's there somewhere, but this will be a lot quicker. And also, if you want to come up and say something, because you've also been part of her support structure, and I also believe there's someone else in here, Sandra Hart. We've got 20 minutes left if anybody wants to jump up. Uh, yeah, I just sent the link to VDOT. So it'd be good if any one of you, I know VDOT's got his own experience involved with this, if he wants to come up and talk about it. Been trying to get him to for ages, but he just might have things sitting in such a position with his own legal position that he might not be able to. Let's just put it that way. So, but yeah, Semolina has definitely asked, can she come up and talk? So, can you? I don't know if he's listening, to be honest. Oh, yes, he is. Okay, Sandra Hart and Semolina. All right, okie dokie. Yep. So, Sandra Hart, if you want to, VDot's going to send you the link, and also Semolina, VDot's going to forward that link to you. So it's just quicker for him to do it this way than for me to do it by searching your names on the internet because I don't know. X doesn't make anything easy to find, does it? Like you don't have like a friends list so you can just go, oh yeah, there's my friend. Click on their name. It's a pain in the backside. Similarly says, I've seen the dad pacing back and forth while Steve was fighting. His dad's biggest concern is that Steve's behaviour doesn't get him evicted because the landlord is upset. Yes. Interesting. So let me read some more comments. Shelby, yes, the police have been involved. The police do nothing. That's right. They do nothing. So, according to Glenn Matthews, over 300 calls to police about him. Uh, so, yeah, interesting. One of the things that I don't want to talk about the rumors. I want to be able to. I want to stick to the things that we know have.
Yeah.
He's either said himself, but there's a lot of rumors going around. But I mean, there's rumors about everything, so we really can't talk about the rumors. But let me just look through the images here while we're waiting for Semolina. All of the images that I collect of Steve saying things. Um, he has said things. Here we go. She's in. Sandy.
Hi.
Hi, everybody.
How
So
are ya?
I just wanted to say hello and hello to Courtney, and I'm so proud of you.
Oh, thank you.
it sounds like you've been a wonderful support through all of this.
Well, I hope so.
Oh, you have, Sandy, absolutely.
Cool.
Without a doubt.
So you have some stories to tell us as well, do you, Sandy?
Oh gosh, I could go on for a long time, but what I would like to do is just support Courtney in all of this. And if I could just say publicly, I have never once enabled this kid. So for anybody to say that is insulting. And I'm here to support whoever Steve has been harassing and threatening, and this is about Courtney. So, um, that. But yes, I've been in contact with Steve for a long time. I was his daily jail call, um, but there's been a small group of us working together to try to put an end to his terror on people.
Right. Well, that's a tricky position to be in. That you're part of his support group, but you're also part of the support group for the
Well,
people.
If I
So
could just correct that and say, not
please
really
do.
supporting him, but being somebody he can vent to while screaming at him constantly. Like, he is not a victim. He has victimized so many people. And while it may seem that I'm supporting him by accepting phone calls, it's actually quite the opposite. I'm actually um,
So you're kind of playing
yelling
that.
at him all the time and telling him hundreds of times over and over he is not a victim. He's done this to himself. He's hurt many people. And I'm just so damn proud of people like Courtney and Kyle and Sema and others who have just calling out all this bullshit for so long because it does need to stop. He won't stop. The only way to stop him is for police involvement.
Yeah. Is it Dixie? I'm in Australia. I wouldn't do it, but is it really that easy to do? Okay,
Is
Selma is here as well. Hello, Selma.
Sema.
Hey, I tried to turn on my camera, but the Chrome wouldn't let me. It said that it would ask me and it didn't. So I'd be on camera otherwise, but I'm sorry about that.
That's all right. Let me get this thing off the screen so we can see you. Stop sharing that. There you are. That's okay because none of us are on camera. I'm just an avatar. I'm a talking bobblehead avatar.
Yeah.
I've been on and
Um,
off camera.
I want to say though, Courtney has been like a champion. Sandy, Kyle, like people have been harassed, like Sue's. Like I just feel like I've been far away. Like when I met Steve in person, I did want to initiate a meeting with him. I did want to talk to him because I wanted to like see him and how he acted with my own observations. And I actually was gonna pray over him because I thought like, I thought, I was kind of naive. I thought like this guy was, sick with something and I could help him. But what happened was when Brendan and I pulled up to his place, Steve expected my arrival. He was downstairs with his phone on, pointed at us, talking crap, it threatening us when we were in the car. And Brendan got so upset because, Brendan's kind of old fashioned, like, Steve's disrespecting a lady right now. So he went up to him, and I actually turned away because I knew something was going to happen. And there's this fight that ensued. It happened for well over 5 minutes, and it continued into the stairwell. And I go up, and I see Steve's like shorts coming off, and I'm like, oh my god! And that's actually what stopped the fight. Like Steve paused to like pull up his shorts, and then he went upstairs to his apartment through like the stairwell, like Brendan's takeout on the ground, like eggs everywhere, omelets, sausage, what have you. And, I see what I did see though when I went up was like Brendan was slammed into like the wall with all of Steve's body weight. And, I saw Steve in court the other day. Steve put on a good 30 pounds since this incident, but, he was 3 times the size of Brendan at
Wow.
this time. And it was just messed up. Steve's dad was pacing back and forth. Like the landlord was like really pissed because he was there that day. He was moving someone in or cleaning up an apartment. I had my own conversations with the landlord. The landlord was going to kick the Codys out because of Steve's behavior. He told Steve's dad, if he doesn't get off the internet, you're subject to be evicted. So he was pissed. Anyway, but I've tried to talk to Steve like Sandy did, like try to help him, like Courtney did, like Kyle, Courtney, Sandy, and I all tried to help this guy. And
Sometimes, yeah.
yeah, go ahead. Sorry, Courtney.
Oh no, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to interrupt you. I was just gonna say, especially with predators, sometimes they don't want any help, and it's hard to say because you're like, oh, maybe he has, a mental illness, maybe there's something else going on there. But from everything I've heard, it seems and it appears he knows exactly what he's doing. And a lot of the times he's just escalating. He likes the attention. He likes to feel like he's important. He likes people to talk about to talk about him. And I think that's where it's more of just more of a predator instinct than anything else. It appears.
Can I jump in on that one?
Sure.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Dozens of people have actually been in his inbox and been very kind to him, and eventually he'll start harassing all of them. It was when he had his hearing for the Jillian Daniels when he called Lifeline. I was in touch with him that night. Turtle Boy and another person, Skip Tracer, did a show on the 15-page court documents from that day. Steve was messaging me that this was exactly what he wanted. Like, it was such a negative attention, and I kept saying, this how can you be happy about this? And he could not, he was giddy. That was the phrase I just kept using to others. He was literally giddy that he was getting attention, even though it was about a 15-page awful court document of him harassing people.
Interesting. So,
So it is, even the negative attention, he'll excuse my phrasing, but he'll be pulling his pud when he hears this, that there's 90 minutes on him.
so he's not going to be like the other dude we exposed a few days ago who like packed up and ran off with his tail between his legs and cancelled all his accounts and ran away. Is that what you're saying?
He's loving this type of attention, and which is fine. He needs to get attention. People need to be made aware of
Yeah.
him. So, I'm so happy, Courtney. I'm so damn proud of you. I'm so happy, Aussie. Thank you for this stream. This is amazing.
I,
Um,
I
but
hope
yes, he's loving this attention, but it's the attention that he needs because now the authorities are involved.
right. And of course, all of the creators need to know that these people are in our chats and they're preying on our audience and they're setting our audience and they're doing illegal things to our audiences, and we need to protect our audiences and at least let them know that this stuff is going on.
100%.
Yeah, and I'm so proud of you for that as well because many people have been aware of this since, well before a lot of us happened to get involved in February. And they've ignored it. I've personally reached out to several and have said, you need to help us. You need to do something. And essentially, we've been ignored. It's been very disappointing.
Right. Well, the general feedback that we get is don't say anything because it will upset the movement. And well, here's the thing. I'm an Australian channel. I'm not part of the movement. I mean, I appreciate the movement and I like to give them the airtime that I do because I appreciate the movement. I have people involved with the movement who come up on my channel and talk on my channel about the movement so that people can hear about it. But I'm not involved in the movement. I don't live in America. I don't live in Massachusetts. I'm not involved in it. But I love supporting everybody who is involved in it. You fully have my support, and I like um, most of the people that I've met. Just some of the nicest people through the movement. Some of the nicest creators. Some of the oh, it's just all warm and fuzzy for me. Like mostly, except for you got your odd ones like your Steve Cody's
Yeah.
and people who defend them. So, but um, uh, it's easy for me to say, come to my channel and we can talk about it. But I don't know if it's so easy for others who are in the movement. Does that make sense? So
It does, and I don't think it needs to be even publicly. I do know of two creators who sent him private messages, and it seemed to help for a little while. And they just told him, cut the shit. Like, just stop doing what you're doing. And it helped, for maybe just a matter of days. But at least for those days, some people had some peace. And since he's gotten out of jail, the escalation has just been unbelievable.
yeah,
So
Yeah.
that's why, I kind of jokingly, we were joking a little bit in the chat about a tribe, but go tribe. We're Things are happening. Even though things aren't being made so publicly, things are really happening. So
Right.
Courtney may have been quiet publicly, but she has been a woman of action. And she and Sema and Kyle and others, I mean, there are definitely lots of others, have really, the action is happening and things are happening. And it seems like this may finally be heading towards the end game.
Yep. Dixie Normus. The name is
Can I
Steve Cody, Cote, but he uses a lot of different nicknames. It depends what day it is and how many bots he's got running at the same time.
I do want to point out one thing about the turtle, the hung turtle. Like, so the other day, like on Christmas, he was part of this like pets, show, in which he posted a super chat about his cats, and everyone just started calling him out about the turtle. And I know he hates that attention because he does not want to be known for hanging that turtle. We've asked him for proof that he didn't. He tries to go so much saying that he was cleared by the police multiple times. He wasn't. The police told me, his own town police told me that he was responsible for that turtle. And that was 2 months after it happened. So he does love attention, but I know him. And I think the other day when Will DeGlaire and Aiden and, Esty all called him out one by that turtle, I know he hated that because he doesn't want to be known for doing that when I think he did. So I just wanted to say that about his
Yep,
attention.
yeah. Dixie Normus, you're welcome. I got his deets. I even got his Mac number, his Mac ID. Dude, I got all his deets. If you
You
think
got the goods.
I got the goods, if you want to go look it up. It's just, from Australia, we don't necessarily have a lot of access to a lot of things. There's some things that I do have access to and could probably get information from. They're just really expensive from Australia. And I'm
Yeah.
trying to save for a house right now. So I haven't necessarily had the finances to pay for all of these extra apps and things to go. But if you've got access to it, that's what we're looking for. People who have an interest in, how do we stop him? Do we dig up his FBI page? I don't know. I don't know what we do from this point, but I think the more we need to put more pressure on him. I really do. As a community, we need to put more pressure on him. If he doesn't have anywhere to go in the community, then what has he got left?
Yeah, I think it's also important too to put a lot of pressure on, again, like the Worcester Police Department to act. And
Yeah.
even the Clinton Police Department to, do something. Because my concern is that once he doesn't even get the attention that he needs, and we all stop paying attention to him, or he's exiled from everywhere, he's going to start escalating because I think it's a physical need of love
Right.
and belonging. He
It's not
needs that kind of negative attention, any attention, positive, negative. It's going to keep him, from, escalating. But I think he's already to the point that he's escalating already. So I think too is that we need to put pressure on the police departments and say, look, like this person is seriously dangerous and there is a chance that he could escalate.
what's
100%.
a civil matter that you could bring against him that it could work? I don't know. There's no jail time or no punishment in a civil matter, so I'm not sure that it would bother him. To be honest, I'm not sure. But
I think Kyle has his DCF stuff that he can sue for personally. Like Kyle can bring him to court by what he tried to do. I think there's like punishable fines up to like 2,500. I could be
Yeah.
wrong on that. That's one
And then with
idea.
and then with each criminal harassment charge, he faces like a minimum of 2.5 years. So there are other charges that are coming for him that are technically pending. But he has like multiple courthouses looking into him, multiple police departments looking into him, multiple agencies looking into him. So, some people have said like, wow, it's taken 6 months and nothing has happened yet. The problem is there's a lot of moving parts to this, and you have to be patient. Like people who aren't being affected directly by this are getting annoyed. How do you think we
Yeah.
feel? Like we're living this every single day, and you have the gall to be like, it's taking too long. Well, there's only so much that we can do when we're working with I'm working with a police department that isn't willing to help. And, I have to go through a department or like a county that I don't live in to be, for them to actually want to help. And then I have to go to outside agencies. So it's like there's a lot of moving parts. Like you're not going to have, it be so, it's not a cookie cutter. Like not every case is not the same. This is so complex and stuff that has been uncovered throughout this whole ordeal, stuff that Kyle's found out, stuff that Sandy's found out, Emma, me. Like it is so far beyond stalking, so far beyond stalking. And I think something bigger was uncovered. And that's why things are moving slowly to make sure that all the ducks in a row are in a row,
Yeah, that makes sense.
because something is bigger is at play. And that's in it of itself uh it's a relief because, like I said, it's so much deeper than just one person. And if we can expose this little ring that we've already kind of, a light has been shed on, we're going to be taking down so much more than just one person.
Right.
Amen, sister.
Amen.
Well, yeah, that's definitely blowing my mind, actually.
If you don't mind, can I just jump in one more time and just say, although it seems like the police aren't doing anything and aren't listening, there have been a couple of amazing police officers whose hands have been a little bit tied, but they're working tirelessly with people to at least keep us in the loop and saying we can't tell you what's happening, but there are things happening. So this isn't just, I mean, definitely Worcester Police has dropped the ball and it's extremely disappointing and there's a big problem there. But Clinton Police, they know the name. They're working on taking care of things and they're listening to
That's
us.
good. That's good
Yeah,
to hear.
And it's to the point where Steve actually filed complaints against them with the post commission. And
Yes.
he's like, these police, they don't like me, they hate me, and that's why they're doing it. But, when you have, I had two detectives from Clinton reach out to me personally. It wasn't me reaching out to them, they reached out to me. And they have been
That's
amazing.
awesome.
There's Yeah, I mean, it's no short of amazing. And there's two other officers that I have spoken with numerous times, and I'm always apologizing. I'm sorry for calling, and they're just so gracious and just so helpful. And you know, it's just amazing. The difference between Clinton and Worcester, like small town versus city, like they're actually taking it serious, and they've been absolutely incredible. And because they've been so incredible with me and Kyle and Sandy and Selma, they're now being targeted. And it just seems as though everyone who kind of like puts their hand out to help is immediately uh, villainized or attacked. And that in of itself makes people more reluctant to kind of reach out because then, they're putting, or essentially putting a target on
right.
their
So
back,
he's filing
and it's,
complaints against the police whenever they go in there and question him about stuff, right?
yeah, and he actually filed a complaint with the ethics committee against the chief probation officer that I'm working with.
Mm.
So, yeah. So, I mean, it's obviously they're frivolous complaints, and that, again, is a pattern that has been established for years. Um, so it's just kind of like, there was a case where a judge had a restraining order put on him by a defendant, and I can totally see him doing something like that to avoid going to jail. To have him go and put a restraining order or attempt to get a restraining order on each of the judges in Marlborough and Stoughton and Worcester, where he has open cases, and in Clinton. Like he's just that type of
Mm.
person.
Mm.
Um, but yeah, so he doesn't stop at just, you know, civilians, he actually goes and reports law enforcement officers too.
He
Interesting.
also
I
protested.
think Suzanne,
Sorry. Go on.
Suzanne, I know is, I think I can't see the chat, but I know she was active in it earlier. He reported the detective that was helping Suzanne. He reported him to post as well. So it's not only is he reporting, the Clinton detectives who are helping, he also went after a detective that was working with Suzanne. So he has no boundaries. Like this chief probation officer just started with him publicly last Thursday.
Right.
And he's already
Yeah.
said that he's made a complaint to the Ethics Commission and also to the CJC. So now he's targeting the chief probation officer who happened to just get this case.
So that's why he's hitched himself to the Free Karen Reid movement, because we're saying that all these people are corrupt, and that just enables him to do all of this complaining to all the
Well,
commissions and blah blah.
he 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 hitched himself because he was a follower of Turtle Boy, and he just went in blindly and just whoever, last fall he was targeting anti Karen Reid people, and he showed up in Clinton and did a one man protest. And then, of course, was saying some, people like the Albert family were chasing him in their Jeep. A lot of it was for attention. And then when people got tired of him and his antics, Courtney had mentioned Grant Smith Ellis earlier. A lot of people called Steve out, and they removed him. Steve was removed from a lot of the Free Karen Reid pages. And that, of course, enraged him because that became his life.
Mm.
So, by being pushed away from this community, now he's not in any community and he's acting out against everybody, and especially anybody who he sees is on the side of Turtle Boy, because simply Turtle Boy made him sad. So now he's going after anybody who may support either Aiden or Karen Reid.
This is a photo, incidentally, for those who don't realise, of a picture of him receiving Courtney's HPO, and see how proud he is. He calls it the Canton salute.
So that's actually not my order. That is for the woman who did not get the extended
Oh,
order.
he's still proud of it. He's
Yeah,
still
so
proud of
that
it.
he's
And
still
he's
proud of
sending
it.
that to
Yeah.
you. That's you that he's tagged there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. Yep.
He
Very.
also
It's a game for
He
him.
also hashtags though the movement because he thinks that it's going to bring attention to his tweets. So if he hashtags Turtle Boy and if he hashtags like Free Karen Reid, it's another device of look at me, look what I'm doing right now.
Yeah.
And Sandy mentioned a one-man protest at D&E Pizza, but he also protested the Clinton police along with I think he had 4 signs made of poster board and markers that he just one day walked down there. He doesn't live very far, and decided to protest his own police department. And I think Kyle actually caught him going there, if not for the protests, but he actually likes to check in and says, "Has anyone called about me? Has anyone?" This is what happened with Jen Altman's HPO. He went down there and said, "Has anyone called about me? Has anyone, complained about me?" And then ends up getting arrested because they're like, "Yeah, we are actually looking for you." And that was actually kind of funny. But
That was amazing.
He is Dixie enormous. Very stereotypical. Reddit's been around for a long time, so this is a very stereotypical classic old school Redditor that we're describing here.
Nuts.
All right, so I'm pleased to hear that some police are dealing with it sensibly. I get that they're copping it as well because he's such an idiot, but so there is actually a dude in the true crime community who has he's been what's the word when you're not allowed to, you're banned from making any more lawsuits. I forget what it's called now. Vexatious litigant. He's been declared a vexatious litigant because he's got hundreds and hundreds of frivolous lawsuits, and it's ridiculous shit. Like I can't even, oh my god, I can't even remember them. It's like the moon wears lipstick. He's suing the government because the moon wears that's not real one, but I'm just giving you an example because I can't actually think of, they're just all ridiculous crap like that.
Yeah.
Um, someone was MK ultra'd into doing something they didn't want to do, and it's the government's fault. Just crap like that. Hundreds and hundreds of them, and that's JLR. For those who don't know who I'm talking about, he's before he came into the true crime world, and it's all attention seeking. It's very much this character altogether, and it would just be tragic if a predator like this gets the same kind of um, following that JLR has got himself, because he's got a disgustingly huge following for the horrible shit that he does. But he did stuff like before he got into true crime, he pretended to be the uncle of the Sandy Hook shooter. He
Oh, that was so
Right. He pretended
disgusting.
to be a Jew that supported Trump. He pretended to be, and like the media just falls for it. He just gets in front of the camera and he acts this role, and the media gets him on camera and goes, "Oh, are you really a Jew?" And he'll go, "Yeah, yeah, I'm from blah blah," and like he has it all, and they'll just film him and put him on the TV, like they don't even check anything. And so he's got this string of litigations as long as your arm. I think he's currently holds a Guinness. Actually, he's even sued Guinness because they won't put him in the Guinness Book of Records.
Yeah.
Because
Find out that you want advertised.
exactly, another court case that he can't actually do because he's banned from doing them.
Yeah.
Basically, but he did try to sue Guinness for not putting him in the Guinness Book of our World Records because he holds the record for um, how many litigations in a period. It's not even in a period of time. It's just one person. He's not a genius. He's a freaking idiot. He's not. He's not a
Oh
genius. He's
God.
just this dude. He just knows how to get attention. So
I
and
think he's
people.
just attention seeking.
It's attention seeking, exactly.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, JLR is like a world unto himself. Could he end up hurting someone? I don't. I don't know. I don't think he's as dangerous as this person here is. Like I've never heard of JLR hanging a dead turtle on someone's porch to like death threat the person that they hate. Do you know what I mean? So
Mhm.
I've never heard of anything like that. Uh, but I mean, he's done some really crazy freaking shit. Just
Yeah.
crazy. I know he frauded a lot of people out of a lot of money. That's why he went to jail. He was, I think, 10 years in jail, I think it was, or something.
Wow.
Oh wow.
He had some kind of credit card fraud happening. I can't remember what it was. Um, so I tell people, if you watch that channel, be very, very careful because as soon as you strike that channel, that your address and details, everything goes to him, and then he can go and look you up and like mortgage your house out from underneath you because he's that kind of fraudster. He can open
Oh
up
my
credit
God.
cards in your name. So if you watch his channel and you send him super chats and there's any way that he can see your private details, like you're playing with fire because he'll probably open a credit card in your name or something. That's the sort of stuff that he's actually known for. So
Oh,
you could smell him through
Wow.
the picture.
I'm just learning all this stuff now. I feel yeah. Jesus Christ.
Yeah, crazy, crazy. So, I don't necessarily think that people who know how to get the attention and manipulate everybody to get the attention. I don't necessarily think they're geniuses. I think that they know how to manipulate people because they're not geniuses, because they don't have any other talent. Does that make sense? They don't know how they don't know how else to make themselves relevant, so they do it by manipulating people because they're not geniuses.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah. So
100% agree.
and it's a lot easier to manipulate someone than it is to, make something of your life. Go to uni, learn a trade craft, become good at something. You know what I mean? It's a lot easier to just manipulate people around you. So yeah, that's kind of the class that I put JLR in. Like, I don't think he was ever smart enough to do anything with his life. Uh, he's just good at manipulating people because they are easy to manipulate. A lot easier than going to uni.
Yeah.
So,
Well, if you know nothing else about Steve and you just see him standing in Canton Center, that's what got my attention. I had never heard of him. You just see this sad, lonely guy. And that's why many of us did respond to him when he reached out to us, and we're trying to be kind and guide
but
him.
there's
But
there's three
again,
of you here that would have been friends with him that all reached.
yeah, I tell him that almost daily, telling him he would have had an amazing group of people around him to support him. I've told him that since last
Yeah,
December, but he just cannot control himself. And instead of opening his arms and saying, "Oh, there are people that might care about me and, you know, want to help and guide me." Instead of accepting that, he turns on everybody. He is not a victim.
He's not.
He will be in your inbox if you show any sort of positive reply. He will be in your inbox claiming how dozens and maybe hundreds of us are harassing him.
yeah,
He is not a victim. So many good, kind people have reached out to him.
and he's bitten them,
Yeah,
biting the hand that feeds him, and,
yeah. And,
and he's proud.
Absolutely.
when
He's
you get,
proud of being a criminal. He's sitting
yeah,
there holding this bit of piece of paper like he's proud to be a criminal. Canton Salute.
who does that? What 29-year-old would be so proud of a restraining order,
He's
essentially?
basically putting
Holds
himself
it
in the
up.
same category as the people that we are against in the trial. He's saying, "Yeah, I'm corrupt. I'll play the system. I'll play the victim. I'll do all the things that these corrupt people are doing." And that somehow makes you different from all of those people, Steve Cody. No, that makes you exactly like the people that you hate.
Well,
Exactly.
in
Yeah.
the early days of him following Aiden, he actually painted himself up to be this wannabe hardo. And he threatened Morrissey and he threatened his wife. He threatened Ken Mello. I think he said that he wanted to openly burn one of their houses down. And I think that when people didn't like that and said, "What are you doing? You're being crazy," he was angry. Like Sandy had brought up an incident where he was at D&E Pizza pretending that, he was being chased by, Colin and Kevin Albert. He does these things because he thinks that he can be a wannabe hardo hero in the eyes of like FKR and then just kind of saddle back on that. And it didn't work for him. And now he's just like, "Oh no, poor me. I'm rejected because no one listened to me and no one believed me." And I think one time he even tried to grift. Like he posted his Cash App and said to people, $1,000 would be nice. Please send it to me.
Yeah.
He did a GoFundMe because his sob story was his dad needed to have surgery, which, just if I can say, was in a doctor's office with a laser and not that big of a deal. But Steve tried to say, "Hey, $1,000 can help me." Dude, you haven't made $1,000 in 6 months. Like, how do you expect other people to just? I don't know.
Mm, mm. Interesting. Well, there's a lot of different comments coming out. Everyone's got different theories and thoughts about it, but generally, I would just like to put the message out there, Steve Cody. If you want to behave like a McAlbert and try and manipulate the system the way you're doing it, you aren't going to get any friends in the free Karen Reid movement because it's exactly what they.
Oh, that's over. Yeah, that's over. That hasn't been a thing for a long time.
You ain't winning friends and influences influencing people, mate. Clean your act up, get shaved, have a shower, and stop posing with these stupid documents that are actually showing you how dumb you are. Is this not a mirror? Like, you should be looking at this as a mirror. You're not. This is not something to be proud of. You know, go to you.
Something to be proud of is somebody like Courtney and Kyle who have upcoming court cases and
Outstanding.
didn't walk away and are going to be responsible for ending this reign of 10 years of online bullshit.
Yeah, yeah. That doesn't
It has to be done.
It doesn't surprise me at all. All right, guys. I've got to wrap this up and shoot everybody over to another live stream, which I just realised we've gone 20 minutes overtime on. Whoops. But I really appreciate you guys coming up and talking and letting Courtney have her say first. Like, that was just brilliant that you're quite happy that you were both supportive of her having her say and being able to say what she needed to say. And I really appreciate the chat not telling her that she had to and that you don't want to hear it and blah blah blah, as most people do. Thank you so much, Abby, for co-hosting tonight. Much appreciate your company.
For sure, for sure.
And we will get V Dot up, and even Ghost if you want. We'll get you guys up to talk about this some more, just to keep it out there so that anyone who misses it, I'll probably chop this up into some smaller bits, sound bites, so that other creators get to hear it. Because I know not everyone has time to listen to a 2-hour stream. So thank you, everybody. I appreciate you coming today.
Thank you.
And I wasn't able to keep up with the chat, but I appreciate it so much that you allowed me to come up here and kind of say what was on my mind, and for giving me like the space to do that. So I appreciate you both for taking the time and allowing me
No
to do
worries.
that.
We're very thankful that
100%.
you did. And if anyone's going to come at you sideways, Abby and I got your back.
100%.
I appreciate that. And I'll definitely stay in touch
Yes,
with you
please
both.
do. Please do.
Thank
Okay,
you for
thank you.
giving this the visibility. Just one more thing. Thanks for giving this the attention and visibility, Aussie and Video Jesus.
Yeah,
Of course.
I think we need to do it
Absolutely.
again sometime. So let's collaborate again. All right.
Sounds
Bye,
good.
everybody.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.